They said no outlaw was more feared in the Wild West than Blackthorn Jake. They also said no lawman was more ruthless than Sheriff Cole Maddox. What nobody knew was that their blood feud stretched deeper than any gunfight. A darkness born from betrayal, revenge, and a promise carved in blood. But the real shark, the sheriff's own daughter, fell in love with the outlaw he swore to kill. And when the truth came out, the entire Wild West froze in disbelief, because the man she loved wasn't just the sheriff's enemy. He was the reason her mother died. Or so everyone believed. What happened next turned enemies into ghosts, families into ruins, and a dusty, small town into a battleground of love, hate, and the lies that chained them all. The Wild West was a place where every man carried secrets, and every woman carried scars, even if they weren't visible. But none carried a heavier burden than Clara Maddox, daughter of the most feared sheriff in 3 territories. Sheriff Cole Maddox was a man carved from stone. Grief had turned him hard, duty had made him colder, but fatherhood was the only thing that kept him from falling apart completely. Clara grew up quiet, obedient, graceful, the town's darling, but behind her gentle eyes lived a fire, a longing for a world far beyond Red Dust Ridge, a world where she wasn't the sheriff's daughter, just Clara. One burning afternoon, she wandered out past the ridge, sketchbook in hand, searching for a view untouched by gunpowder and sorrow. She didn't hear the footsteps behind her. She only felt the presence, sharp, heavy, dangerous. She turned. There he was, a man with dark, wild hair, a scar slicing down his jaw, and eyes that carried both storms and secrets. He didn't reach for his gun. He simply raised his hands. "Don't scream," he whispered. "I ain't here to harm you." His name was Jake Blackthorn, though the wanted posters preferred Blackthorn Jake, the outlaw with a price on his head and a legend built on half-truths and fear. Clara knew she should run. Her father had told her 100 stories about this man, everyone ending in blood, but something strange pulled her closer instead of away. "Why are you here?" she whispered. Jake smirked softly. "Same reason as you, I reckon. Looking for something that ain't trying to kill me. It was a foolish thing, staying. But she did. That day became the first of many stolen meetings. They met on the ridge at dawn, at dusk, sometimes in the dead of night. He spoke of dust storms, gunfights, narrow escapes. She spoke of loneliness, walls, expectations that smothered her like smoke. Jake would laugh at her jokes, a sound she didn't know she needed so badly. Clara would patch the cuts on his hands, wounds from battles he never bragged about. 2 broken souls, finding something whole. But the West had eyes everywhere. Rumors spread, whispers grew. Townsfolk began avoiding her father's gaze, and Sheriff Maddox never ignored. Fear. One night he burst into Clara's room, slamming the door so hard the candles flickered. "You stay away from that outlaw," he roared. Her heart dropped. You know about him?" His jaw clenched. "I know enough. That devil killed your mother." The world around Clara crumbled like dry sand. "Mama?" Her voice cracked. "But you always said she died protecting you." He looked away. "A father's lie is a wound that cuts deeper than any bullet." Clara rode through the night, searching for Jake. She found him under the moonlit ridge, leaning against a rock, staring at the sky. "Tell me the truth," she said, tears gathering. "Did you kill my mother?" Jake's expression shifted, not to guilt, but to pain. "Clara, I never wanted you to find out like this." Her voice broke. "Just tell me." Jake swallowed hard. "I didn't kill her. I tried to save her. But your father—" He stopped. "Your father's version of justice took her from us both." Clara staggered back. Her father had lied. Jake had suffered, and she was trapped in the middle. But before either could speak again, rifle shots echoed across the ridge. Sheriff Maddox and his deputies stormed in, lanterns blazing. "There he is," Maddox shouted. "Grab the outlaw." Jake raised his hands, not in surrender, but in heartbreak. "I told you," he whispered to Clara. "Your father ain't after justice. He's after his own ghosts." They dragged Jake in chains down the ridge, Clara screaming his name as they pulled her back. The next morning, the entire town gathered. Jake was thrown to his knees in the town square. Sheriff Maddox stood tall, though his hands trembled. "For the murder of my wife," He declared, "Jake Blackthorne will hang." Clara pushed through the crowd, sobbing. "Father, stop. Please, he didn't kill her." Jake's voice rose, cracked with truth. "Your wife died protecting me from your own men, Sheriff. She saw they were about to hang an innocent man. She stepped in front of the bullet meant for me." Gasps ripped through the crowd. Maddox froze. Jake continued, "You weren't there when she begged him to stop. You weren't there when she told me to forgive you." Clara's hands covered her mouth. The sheriff's badge suddenly felt heavier than iron. For the first time, the town saw Sheriff Maddox not as a hero, but as a man consumed by guilt. His gun slipped from his grasp and landed in the dirt. "Release him," he whispered. No one moved. "I said release him." Deputies hesitated, then obeyed. Clara rushed to Jake, throwing her arms around him. Their embrace shattered what little pride the sheriff had left. He looked at his daughter with tears in his weathered eyes. "Clara, if you go with him, you may never come back." She held Jake's hand tighter. "Then I reckon this is goodbye." They rode out of red dust, ridged together, Clara holding Jake like he was the only world she wanted. Behind them, Sheriff Maddox stood alone on the dusty street, not as a sheriff, not as a legend, just a father, watching his daughter choose love over fear. Some say he visits the ridge every evening, staring at the road she took, hoping she found peace, hoping she forgave him. Others say Jake and Clara built a small home beyond the desert, where no badge and no outlaw name mattered anymore. But one thing became certain. Their love story changed the Wild West forever, not with gunshots, but with truth.